Alright, welcome back to War Pig Prepper. Today we are going to learn how to make homemade smoke bombs or distraction devices like for smoke screens. If you are in an engagement and you need to have it so the enemy can't see you and take a well-aimed shot, you can toss these out. If you have wounded on the ground, you can throw these out, get a good smoke screen so you can run out there so someone's not getting a good clear shot. Or if it's just for the 4th of July and you're bored, this will be a smoke screen that lasts about 2 minutes, about at least at a minimum a minute and a half. Now that's a lot better than you can buy. Now these will only be white colored smoke, because multicolored, if you want blue or purple or something like that, that takes different ingredients, and I'm not that dedicated. So now this is going to be pretty simple, and I'll get into the ingredients in them. As you can see, I have a dedicated smoke bomb kit right here, and it has your paper tubes. This was a 10-inch tube. I cut it down, so this is roughly 5 inches. If you don't want to do that, another great way, pill bottles. Now this is about 4 inches, and these last about almost the same amount of time as the paper ones. And the good thing about this is you don't have to create a bottom or a top. It already has it. You just have to drill a hole in the top. As with these, you have to use a putty to make a bottom and a top. So I think I'll show you that. I'll go through with it just to show you one way of doing it. Then I'll show you the way with the pill bottle. Now I always like to save pill bottles, whether it's this or an Advil bottle or Tylenol bottles. These things work fantastic. Now the smoke comes out a little bit darker at first, or once it gets to the edges, but it saves some time because you have to wait several hours for that putty to fully harden before you can start putting your mix into it. Now the ingredients you will be using today, as you can see, is sugar, wax, and stump remover. The stump remover burns. The sugar is what creates your smoke as it burns, and the wax prolongs it and solidifies it, so it's in a harder container. Those are the ingredients in there. I like to keep a dedicated box because I don't want to keep reusing this pot if I'm cooking or something. This is just a regular pot to melt your wax. You can use 2 different types of fuses. I prefer the 3mm Canon fuse. You get a 20-foot roll on Amazon for $10. I like it because it's thicker. Or you can use this scrawnier 2mm. I used it first, didn't like it, so I moved on to the thicker stuff. A spoon for scooping it into the containers, a spatula or a whisk for mixing it up while it's melting. I use a Teflon rod for the putty so I can make it even. And number 2 pencils. When you pour the wax in, you stick them in there to make the hole for your fuse. You also need a blender because you will be blending the stump remover and the sugar down to a fine powder, almost like powdered sugar, and that just helps it mix better. Another thing you will need is a little scale. because the sugar and the stump remover have different densities, and you will be doing this by weight, not by volume. Alright, to start the mix, I like to use Durham's water putty. This stuff, like it says, gets rock hard. It's just personal preference. You can use whatever you like. Now I'm just going to start by, you don't have to be exact on this, because it really doesn't matter. You're just going to throw several spoonfuls in here, like so. Now you're going to be doing the putty twice. Now this stuff starts to harden once you get done, so you need to do it relatively faster, because you know the warmer it gets, the faster it hardens. So I'm going to get my two tubes. One way to also do it at your bottom, you can take a knife. Oop, I almost went through there. Cut some grooves in it. Nothing fancy. That's just going to allow the putty to interconnect like a puzzle piece and hold it more secure. Which I'll be using duct tape as an extra measure for security. Now that you have your powder, you're just going to add a little bit of water. Don't add too much. You're going to mix it. And mix it. If you get it too watery, like I did, don't worry about it. Just throw a little bit more putty in there. Just a little bit at a time. And you're mixing. And you're going to want it thick. There we go, that's a lot better right there. I'm sure anybody that's ever done drywall, it's going to be something like the paste you put over your screws and your lines to smooth it out. So it's going to be like a paste right here. Now I got a protective sheet down here. I'm going to set it secure. Or if you want to, yeah, we'll worry about the duct tape later. I'm going to hold it upside down like so. I'm going to take some. I'm just going to start putting her in like so. Then I'm going to plop in some more through the top. Just throwing some in there. Alright. Now that I'm satisfied with that, I don't want to pick it up because it'll all fall out the bottom. Once it hardens, it's set, you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to take my Teflon pole and I'm just going to tap. Tap it down. Tap, tap, tap. That way you're working out all those little air pockets of one knot. Just to tap, tap, tap. I look down in there. I don't see any holes. Go ahead and do the next one. As you can see, I ripped it, so I put tape on here to secure it a little bit better. Done, you're going to have some nasty right there. You'll just go ahead and clean that off. And you are done with that for now. Alright, we're going to start mixing our sauce for the middle, which it contains your wax, your stump remover, and your sugar. Right now, I have 400 grams of wax. I am going to slowly melt. You want to do it on low temp and just let it melt slowly. I'm using 400 grams of wax because I am going to do 4 times the amount because I want to make a bunch of them at once. Alright, I will be pouring 320 grams of sugar. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be close. That's about right there. You're going to do the same with this. Blend it until you fine powder. I'm satisfied with that. Alright, I will be doing 480 grams of stump remover. This only goes up to 300, so I'm going to have to do it twice. Alright, it's about 300. I'm going to take that. Now I'm going to take that and I'm going to throw it in here in my blender cup. Measure out the rest, which is going to be another 180. That's a little too much. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I went 20 grams over. That's close enough. You're going to pour that in, and then you're going to blend it. What you blend just chops into a fine powder. Now I'm satisfied with that. Now to move on to, so I'm going to put the stump remover and the sugar in the same bowl and mix them together very thoroughly. I think that should be good. Alright, now that our wax is melted fully, ignore the black stuff, that's some dirt that got in it. We are going to mix our powder of stump remover and sugar. And you're just going to mix it in, introduce it slowly. Going to stir it a little bit, start getting it mixed up.
Just keep going until you got all of it in there. I'm just going to go ahead and dump it all in because I'm impatient. Turn your heat off. You can see you have a good amount in here. So let's just go ahead and keep mixing this. Alright, once you got it looking like a porridge, or I'd say smooth grits, but porridge or something like that, it's a little liquidy. That's the wax that I hardened. But as you can see, now we're ready to put it in our containers. Just like so, you're going to take it and you're just going to dump it in. Now these are the two that we put the bottoms in earlier. I'll show you how they turned out in a second on the other one. Just going to keep going. Stir it up, put some in. You're going to have a mess on the outside, but you can easily clean that up. I like to go about a 1/4 inch from the top. That's good. About a 1/4 inch from the top. Now this is how the bottoms turned out. There's some paper on it from it, pulled some of the paper up, but that's a solid bottom from that putty. I'll move that to the side and continue. I'll go ahead and fill all of these up. These you can fill to the top. I'll show you one before I start. There we go. That one's good. Now you got some that came off the sides. We'll clean that up. And I'll do the rest and bring you back. Alright, now that I got them all filled, I've got 5 of them filled. I got one set off to the side, because I'm trying something else with it. And I probably could have did one more, so I probably could have made 7 of these. Now, before the wax really solidifies, once you got it in there, you need a place to go for your fuse to go. So I take number 2 pencils and I stick it all the way down to the bottom. All the way down. Now here in about 30 minutes to an hour, I'll come back in and I'm gonna move these around a little bit, you know, in a circular motion, because if it sets all the way, they're a little bit harder to get out. So you'll want to wiggle them around a little, so you'll start to get a nice hole. Don't get a big hole, just something a little bit bigger than the pencil, and then make it a lot easier to pull out. And now we play the waiting game. But while you're doing that, you can take that in the middle, stab a hole or something. Not big, enough for your fuse to slide through, so a small drill bit, or just use a knife. Alright, I waited about 5 minutes and that was enough, as you can see. Now you still want to keep it in there for a little bit. So it was about 5 to 10 minutes, not 30 to it. So that's good. Feels hard all the way down. You're going to cut your fuse. I like to cut mine about a third longer than the bottle. Fold up your end, just a little so it slides down in there. Do that to all of them. Helping out?
Yeah.
Fuses in. You're going to make a 3-to-1 ratio. Three parts potassium nitrate or your stump remover to 1 part sugar. You don't have to blend it up fine powder. This is just like a little igniter. You're going to fill in these holes. Oh, without spilling it.
You want me to get a spoon so it's easier? Can I use this spoon?
Get some and fill in the holes.
Right.
If I was a smart man, I'd get me a funnel.
Don't you have? Well, that's a good idea. Instead of filling it.
Once you poke a hole in your lid, you can clean up these threads. This stuff that's just some extra stuff that fell on the side while making it. Just carve that off, or you can just go ahead and screw it on like so.
Yeah, and can't you use that for extra wax for other ones? Like the leftovers?
Alright, the fuse is sitting there good. I like the plastic bottles because you don't have to put any tape or anything over these holes to keep that ignition powder that we just poured in because they're in there like so. If you want to clean it up, you can just knock this extra stuff off, which you probably should.
Just in case the bottle doesn't catch on fire.
Oh, the bottle will melt. Which reminds me, do not set these off inside. They are a fire hazard, and you will see why.
Sometimes they explode.
No, they don't explode. That was just the big one we tried that had a bad mixture. Alright, now the last part of these, I made another mixture of putty. And this is what's going to be your other end cap. This is how you have to do these right here. And it's going to harden like a cap. Do all that, get her all smooth. And there you go. Do the same with this one. Now, boom. And there is 6 smoke devices ready to go, except for these 2. You gotta let them dry. But I've got some already made up, and we're going to set some off. 4-inch cardboard with the lighter.
Yeah. You mean? That's why you don't put it right there. You ready to see some magic, Digger?
Time starts at 20 seconds.
It's a smoke bomb. What do you think? Can I pick it up?
No? But just for sake of argument, I threw it. All right, leave it alone.
That's not a good idea.
I threw it just to see how it would land, and as you can see, it still puts out
As soon as somebody opens
a good amount of smoke.
Come on, give me your best. Give me your best shot. Give me your best shot. Imagine this explodes as soon as I pick it. Can I pick it up and down?
1 minute passed.
I dare. Did you say yeah? No, it's on fire. Is it exposed to hurt that bad? This looks when you accidentally get too much weight.
All right, 1:40. And it looks like it's going out.
Dad, it's catching the ground on fire. I don't think that's dog.
Just like so.
Now throw it.
That one. Yeah, throw it.
I want to throw it. Let me throw it. I want to frog out! Let's go! Oh my god, these are the coolest. They actually blow up. Hey everyone, I said frog out. Just
All right.
run away.
Time starts at 26 seconds.
That's kind of getting the ground. During World War II cared about catching the ground on fire. You think I cared about catching the world on fire? Jump over the smoke. You can't see it, but jump.
As you can see with the kids running through it. Probably shouldn't run through it. It's got stump remover in it. But okay. That has plenty of smoke for distraction. Cover your position.
That's so cool though. It makes like a barrier around you and then you break it. Watch. You see, you're not, you see, usually people in the army don't have little children running around. I bet
That is
they
a
have
good
children
smoke
running
screen.
around.
1 minute's passed.
I'm hiding in the clouds.
Still going.
Like a prophet. Now whenever that final
Still going
boss
strong.
fight comes over. Oh my god! When you run through it, close your eyes. Okay. Why? You're like, oh god. No, it has stump remover in it.
Minute 20.
It's something that removes stump. You want to jump over it? Ready? 2, 1. See, the lid's on now. Yeah.
As you can see, this is a fire hazard and you do not want to use it inside.
Stop on this. I'm barefooted. This is like, yeah, she's right in the other one.
Fire hazard. And that's 2 minutes on the dot. Starts in 18 seconds. Nah, it's not us.
I see, you know, like two water come out at it. Then I seen smoke down there, and I thought, oh God, somebody's lit my bush pile on fire. And went around there, and it was just smoke. So I thought, okay, now what do you use to make them out of?
Wax, stump remover,
Stuff removal?
Yeah. That's
minute and a half.
standing on it. We thought it would be cute to lob one of those. They were setting fireworks off, and it blowed about 4 of them off the pier.